Welcome to Lecture 5 of an Introduction to Computer Science with Python. And today we will be covering multi-line strings, type conversion, which is not familiar or shouldn't be, and a note. So first, we have multi-line strings, and a multi-line string is denoted with 3 double quotes in the front and 3 double quotes at the end. Let's see it in the command line, but what I really mean by that is the code window. So let's say you've got tic-tac-toe equals triple double quote 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we can say print tic-tac-toe, and it will give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with a little forehead here. Now, to prevent the forehead, I would simply do this, because when I do this, it starts out with a return key. But if I take that out, then there's no forehead anymore. Now, what is this actually doing? Well, let's take a look at this comment here. I just copied it and pasted it into command line. Remember that in the command line, expressions are actually printed automatically. So you can see here, it says 1 space 2 space 3 \n 4, 5, 6 \n 7, 8, 9. Now, this is because in a multi-line string, when you press enter, that's what actually, that's the computer takes that and calls it a \n. So this string is really just this, but it looks nicer. Now, you would use this, I said tic-tac-toe here because you could use this for a tic-tac-toe game. This is a lot less confusing to the programmer or to whoever's reading the program. This is a lot less confusing than if I typed in this, because this is the same thing. It produces, if you take a look at here, it produces the same thing. But this, the purpose of this is not very clear. However, when you put it as a multi-line string, it's all of a sudden a lot clearer that this is what it does. If you want to go even further, okay, so so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 would appear like this is how it would appear on the command line. Now, what if you want to avoid the forehead? Because if it's like this, where it appears something like this, I have to press enter here to create this. Otherwise, it would look like this, which doesn't look as nice. So this creates a forehead because up here, there's an invisible \n that happened when I pressed return like this. Now, the way I would avoid the forehead, well, one, I could do this, as I said, but I can also use a special escape character. Remember, escape characters are special characters that begin with a \. I can say \. Now, what this does, remember when I told you, oh, you can't leave backslashes on their own? Well, when I put a \/ here and a return here, this \/ tells the computer to ignore the return key. So when I have it like this, just for reference, this without it creates a forehead, but with it, there's no forehead anymore. And that's because when I press return, normally it'll actually show a return when the string is shown in a normal string, but with this \, it prevents that. So now it looks like this. I can do a similar thing here. What if I wanted to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the same line. Well, to prevent the return key, I can just put another backslash. Now it appears like this. That's not what I want for a tic-tac-toe board, so this will do very well. So now you see multi-line strings, and you may be thinking, hey, this looks like a multi-line comment. It is. Multi-line strings in Python, multi-line strings are multi-line comments. Because, remember how last lecture I said, expressions that just stand on their own like this, expressions are ignored. See how nothing happened? Well, you can take this a step further, and you can just make whatever's in here, whatever string is in here, an actual message, like hello. Or tic-tac-toe is a variable holding a tic-tac-toe board. And this is my comment. Now, if it's really long, I may want to do this. But I can't do that because strings are not multi-line strings. Now, the way you would do a multi-line string is by having a multi-line comment. So multi-line comments are multi-line strings. Anyways, that's it for now. So this is not a new data type. Multi-line strings are just a different way of showing a string. It's a string. Multi-line strings are strings, but once simplified, this 1 and then return 2 will be simplified as 1\n2. It's mainly to avoid confusion to people who are reading the code, and the \n can confuse readers. So if I were to print one, 2, you can sort of guess what this does. It just prints 1 and then it prints 2. However, if I printed 1\n2, what it prints is a lot less confusing, despite them printing the same thing. A note, this was I think there's a little flashback to 2 lectures ago when I found out that you can't start a multi-line comment at the end of the string, end of a string, end of a statement, I mean. For example, I can't say print hello and then have a multi-line here at the end of the comment like this. This doesn't work. However, I can have a single line comment at the back of here, as you know, because you can have a single line here, or you can have it by itself like this. This is multi-line comments are strictly for the code window. So you can put multi-line comments here and they will be ignored, but you can't put them here. If you put them here, then they will not be ignored because, like I said, expressions are printed even when they're by themselves. So this is a quick explanation on multi-line comments and how they relate to multi-line strings. Multi-line comments don't actually exist, but the multi-line strings are ignored by the computer, so we have multi-line comments therefore. Because that's what comments are. Comments are ignored by the computer. Now, type conversion. This is a little bit different. So, just to clarify, a type is what type of expression something is. For example, the type of 1 is int, because 1 is an int. Type of quote 1 is string. Now, this may not mean a lot right now, but the type of something is very important because you can do different things with different types. For example, you can't subtract 2 strings. However, you can subtract 2 ints. So as you can therefore see, the type of something can matter a lot, and it especially will in the future. So I would like you to type something with me. num1 equals input. let's put this all in a comment for now. So multi-line string like this. Now num1 equals input, enter first addend. You may see where this is going if you know what addend is. num2 equals input, enter second addend, and print. Actually, let me do something else. num1 equals int. Notice there's green, so int is already doing something. Int, open parentheses, num1. num2 equals int, open parentheses, num2. Now, I can say print num1 plus num2. Now, let's first run it and see what's going on. Oh. So, enter first addend, and it's waiting for me to do something as you would with input. Let's say 10. Enter second addend. Let's say 2, and I get 12. As you can see, it prints 10 plus 2. Now, why does it print 12 instead of 102? Well, that's because, well, first of all, it would print 102 if these things weren't here. So let's remove them and see what happens. Enter first addend, I'll call it 10. Enter second addend, it's 2. And then it prints 102. And why does it do that? Well, even when what you input is a number, it's still a string. Because whatever you input, what if it's not a string? So it's always input, even if it's all numbers, it's always a string. So now to change it from string to int, I use a thing called int. So now int, open parentheses, close parentheses, num1, will change num1 from quote 10 to just normal 10. And then same thing for num2. Num2 was originally a string. Int num2 will go from quote 2 to the number 2. Now this will give me 10 plus 2, but they're math now. So if I do 10 plus 2, I get 12. So that's what int does. Similarly, there is something called str. Instead of int, you got something called str now. Now num1 equals string num1. Num2 equals string num2. Print num1 plus num2. Now what I did here, originally num1, as you can see, was an int form of the input. So num1 was originally int, and the int was 10. So now what this does is num1 equals str num1. Num1 will become normal 10 to 10 as a string, quote 10. Same with number 2. So now you can see, enter first addend 10 and 2, it gives me 12 and 102. And that's because 10 plus 2 as strings gives me this, but 10 plus 2 as ints give me this. So for example, I can say 10 plus 2, to actually test this, I can say 10 plus 2 is 12, and 10 in quotes plus 2 in quotes is 102. So that's type conversion. Now, we will get to type error, which is this. We'll get to that next lecture because this has gone on for 15 minutes now, 14 minutes. So thanks for your attention, and I'll see you next time.